Let's look at exercise 7.7, which deals with whether we should keep a piece of machinery in operations that we've already been using, or should we replace it? So again, this is a capital asset decision, which is extremely important and comes with large sticker prices for organizations. So it's imperative that you really understand the ins and outs of this. So Coco Corporation has a piece of machinery, excuse me, it has been using in operations for the past 5 years. It originally cost them $250,000 with an expected useful life of 8 years and no salvage value. They depreciate all assets using straight line method. It currently costs $45,000 a year to operate. Lately, they have been thinking of upgrading all operations by replacing machinery with up-to-date versions. A newer version of this machine would cost Coco $375,000, with expected annual operating costs much lower at $15,000. And that's because it's much more efficient. It's newer, so it doesn't break down. It doesn't need as much maintenance. This asset also has an 8-year useful life. What should Coco do, assuming quality of product is the same for each machine? Now, that might be a bit of a stretch when we're comparing an older machine with a new one, but for argument's sake, let's assume that the quality is the same. So our choices in this incremental analysis decision is whether to keep the piece of machinery or obviously to replace it. Let's look at yearly operating costs. So going forward, the yearly operating costs are $45,000 for the old piece of machinery. For the new one, because it's more efficient, it's newer, takes less work, $15,000. So over that 5-year period, and I chose the 5-year period because I want to compare what's left for each asset, or that 5-year to show how much Coco was spent on the prior machinery versus the new one. So the cost to cover the operating expenses over that 5-year period, $225,000 for the old machinery, $75,000 for the new. So from a year-to-year standpoint, obviously it's much cheaper to replace the piece of machinery. The only caveat, obviously, is the purchase price. We already have the piece of machinery, the old one, so we don't have a purchase price, whereas the new one would cost $375,000. The total cost from here on out for the old piece of machinery is $225,000. For the new one would be $450,000. Now, just because the replacement cost is higher, I wouldn't fully automatically state that we should just keep the old piece of machinery. The issue is this purchase price. This purchase price is a one-time price that you would pay for the new piece of machinery. Depending on what your goals are going forward from an organizational standpoint, that has to be taken into account here. So there's not a right or wrong answer with this. Things to consider is how long we really do think the new piece of machinery will be in place, because that's going to dictate the depreciation related to this asset, how much benefit we're going to get year to year. How much longer do we expect the old piece of machinery to be in place? The quality, I know in the question we state that quality is the same. Realistically, we would want to do that analysis to see if that's true or not. So just because the replacement is more expensive because of the purchase price, don't automatically assume that we should then just keep our old piece of machinery.